You didn't just stumble onto this. This moment was written into your story before you even knew you'd need it. Out of all the places you could be, you were pulled here on purpose. And that's not a coincidence. That's divine alignment. There's something in your spirit that's been stirring, something you can't quite explain, but you feel it. This is it. This is confirmation. This message is for you, not for the crowd. Not everyone will hear this, but you did. And that's because heaven has its eyes on you right now. You've been seen, you've been carried, and now you're being called. What's coming isn't just a breakthrough, it's fulfillment. And guess what? You're not waiting anymore. You're walking into it. So lean in, take a deep breath, let your soul wake up. Everything is about to shift. Something within is stirring, quiet but undeniable. A shift that has already begun to reshape the world around you. Like a puzzle assembling itself without visible hands, things are moving swiftly, deliberately, as if destiny had been waiting for just this moment to act. But to step into what's arriving, alignment is not optional, it's essential. Alignment means peeling back distractions, letting go of the noise, and tuning into a frequency that's always been calling your name in silence. Before moving forward, there's something important to set in motion. Pause, engage with intention, and send out a small signal. An action, a number, a moment of resonance. These gestures are more than digital rituals. They are spiritual affirmations. And for those who recognize the pulse of truth behind these words, this is not just another message. It's a mirror to your spirit, waiting for your full attention. Let what's meant for you truly reach you, without resistance, without delay. Don't just watch, be part of the movement. Hit subscribe and step into your purpose. Your journey starts now. There are moments when words carry more than meaning. They carry assignment. This is one of those moments. What you're hearing isn't just encouragement. It's an encoded whisper from the divine, wrapped in urgency. It found its way to you, not through luck, but through orchestration, far beyond what logic can explain. When paths grow dark and the world feels like it's folding in on itself, a voice still speaks, one that knows every silent prayer, every night of endurance. That voice isn't distant. It's been walking beside you, hidden in the tension, present in the pause. And now, it breaks the silence, not to startle, but to confirm. This is your validation, not because you've done everything perfectly, but because you never stopped reaching upward. The shift that's been echoing in your soul has arrived, and it's bringing the reward your resilience called for. This message didn't just find you, it was meant for you. There are seconds in time that feel like they're stitched with eternity. This is one of them. What unfolds now is not ordinary. It carries a pulse from beyond the visible, quietly reshaping the road ahead. When something bigger than comprehension is unfolding, the signal often arrives not in thunder, but in clarity. This is not a random pause, it's a threshold. The air feels different because reality is bending to welcome a higher pattern. Among countless paths and lives, one thread is being illuminated, and it's yours, not selected by accident, but set in motion by intention older than the stars. Every delay, every preparation has brought you to the exact frequency where destiny starts to speak. Now is the time to stop shrinking into the familiar and respond to the invitation that's been echoing within you all along. What rises after fire doesn't just survive, it transforms. Many imagine being chosen as a crown placed gently on the head, but in truth, it's forged in the unseen battles no one clapped for. The path wasn't smooth, but every fall carried the seed of rising again. Not because the odds were easy, but because something sacred inside refused to disappear. Every test became a lesson in strength, and every silence taught a new level of trust. What's unfolding now is not random favor, but the fruit of quiet endurance. The journey has been a sculptor, chiseling away what you are not, so what you truly are could emerge with clarity. What once felt like survival is now rising into purpose, and though unseen hands shaped the road, the reward will be unmistakably visible. That time has come. There's a kind of strength that doesn't come from effort alone. It's born from knowing something unseen is working on your behalf. Even when outcomes feel delayed, a current beneath the surface is setting the stage for something luminous. That quiet force, steady and unshaken, is not driven by chance. It's a design that moves through time with intention, preparing joy not yet revealed. Longings that once felt like shadows on the horizon are quietly being drawn closer. Whispers of hope, once fragile, are now gaining form. Not because they were demanded, but because they were nurtured in faith. The journey has been anything but linear, yet through it all, a silent hand has been shaping each step with care. What seemed unreachable is now within arm's length, not by push, but by divine momentum. The direction has never been random. It has always been guided. And now, the doors you once knocked on are opening in ways your mind couldn't have mapped, but your spirit always recognized. There's a sacred kind of momentum that builds in silence, quiet victories stacked in secret, noticed only by the eternal. What's arriving now isn't luck, and it isn't random. It's a new phase, sculpted by every moment you didn't give up. Invisible realms are shifting, making space for what your soul has long been aligned with. This is more than a hopeful turn. It's a divine transition. Not because circumstances are easing, but because your spirit is finally stepping into the rhythm it was always meant to carry. In unseen realms, there's celebration, because resilience like yours echoes far beyond this world. That shift you feel isn't your imagination, it's confirmation. Something ancient and divine is moving in your favor, opening a passage into a chapter designed with your name written into its structure. The unseen rejoices because what once seemed delayed is now inevitable. Pain often hides in plain sight, wrapped in daily duties, disguised by smiles, and buried under what must be done. And yet through every unspoken ache, something enduring was being built. No applause, no recognition, only the silent witness of the one who never left your side. Every inward cry, every moment you kept going when quitting felt easier, was marked and remembered. Nothing was wasted. The trials didn't define you, but they refined you. While others may have missed the depth of your journey, it was never invisible to the one who called you. In the quiet, strength was being born. Not loud, but lasting. And now, everything endured becomes the soil where divine reward begins to bloom. This isn't compensation, it's fulfillment. It's time. Not because you were flawless, but because you were faithful. And in the places where only heaven was watching, heaven is now responding. Don't just watch, be part of the movement. Hit subscribe and step into your purpose. Your journey starts now. Growth often happens quietly, far from applause or recognition. But when it's real, it echoes into higher realms. What's being celebrated now isn't just outcomes, it's the evolution that happened in silence. The person who emerged from the weight of doubt and fire of inner conflict is no longer the same. There's a deeper alignment now, a calm strength formed in the shadows. And yes, it has been seen, not by crowds, but by the one who matters. This isn't about validation through success. It's about being known at the soul level. The struggles weren't invisible, and the endurance didn't go unnoticed. In the quiet corners of surrender and hope, trust was planted again and again. And now, what returns is not random. It is deliberate response. What you held on to during the collapse is the very thing ushering in restoration. This is an acknowledgement that carries weight beyond words. It is a divine recognition wrapped in love. Pain doesn't just wound, it reveals, refines, and prepares. Every crack has allowed light to get in and shape what couldn't be shaped in ease. The heaviness was never wasted. It was the shaping of a soul into something rare, resilient yet tender, broken yet open. The silent battles served their purpose, though their cost was high. But what's coming now is not just relief, it's renewal. Not a vague promise, but a deeply personal release. The question of worthiness has already been answered, not with conditions, but with consistent, unwavering love. Not distant, not reserved, present, patient, and personal. That affection is not a passing feeling. It is the very root from which everything good now grows. And this very moment stands as proof. You have always been seen, always been chosen, always been held. Not every step has been smooth, but every step has had purpose. What looked like delays were actually sacred setups. Each season, each turn, was part of a larger rhythm, pulling your life into alignment with something higher. And no, it was never about flawlessness, it was about willingness. There's been a persistent force beneath your story, holding you steady even when everything else wavered. That presence has seen the thoughts you didn't speak, the battles no one else noticed. This message isn't here to flatter. It arrives as confirmation. The unseen movement around you isn't coincidence, it's orchestration. You haven't gone unnoticed. Something greater is acknowledging the structure you're building from faith, not fear. What's coming next won't be the result of effort alone. It will be the overflow of a heart that kept choosing trust, even in silence. In a world constantly asking for compromise, staying anchored is rare. Many are drawn into loops of distraction, lured by what fades. But there are some who choose depth instead of noise, substance over surface. This kind of choice doesn't make headlines, but it resounds in the unseen. While others chase sparkles that vanish with time, the pursuit of the eternal creates a different kind of glow, quiet, steady, unshakable. That commitment is never ignored. It's honored in ways the world can't replicate. Choosing a path lit by trust, even when it's harder, creates ripple effects far beyond the moment. It's not about ease, it's about alignment. The return on such devotion, more than comfort, it's legacy, fulfillment, abundance, shaped by higher hands. The choice to stay rooted in something real is about to be met with favor that cannot be earned, only received. The ones who choose to keep walking when the map fades are the ones who carry the deepest strength. Not everyone has the courage to continue when clarity disappears, but endurance leaves its mark in the unseen. There's a quiet power in trusting when the outcome is unknown. That's what set this journey apart. While others may have turned away, a different choice was made: to stay, to believe, to move forward anyway. What has been shaping in silence is now coming into bloom, not because it was forced, but because it was forged through loyalty to something greater. This road wasn't random. It was carved to sharpen vision, to stretch the heart, to prepare the soul. Each challenge was a chisel, crafting something rare and radiant. And now, the time has come for what was long being prepared to finally arrive. Not as a surprise, but as a response. Not as a coincidence, but as a long-promised release. Don't just watch, be part of the movement. Hit subscribe and step into your purpose. Your journey starts now. Sometimes the biggest victories are not in what's gained, but in what's endured. Look closely, not just at where you are, but at what it took to get here. It wasn't just milestones that mattered. It was the moments where continuing felt impossible, and yet the decision was still made to trust. That's what has been seen and cherished. Not just your destination, but the heart you carried through the storm. There was nothing small about this journey. The tears, the questions, the weight. It was all part of the sacred reformation that built something unshakable in you. Not everyone could have walked this path. Not everyone would have kept going. But this path, though heavy, has brought you to a place where heaven rejoices in your transformation. This isn't recognition from the world. It's a nod from eternity. The kind of honor that comes only from the one who saw it all. Every moment of surrender became the groundwork for the breakthrough that now unfolds. There are souls that weather storms not because they seek struggle, but because something deeper keeps them anchored when everything else gives way. What's unfolding now is the result of staying rooted through the trembling. There is a quiet celebration taking place, a recognition not marked by noise, but by sacred approval. The journey didn't break you. It built something in you that nothing can steal. What's arriving is not random favor, but the echo of unseen perseverance being answered. Every moment you stood, when it would have been easier to retreat, became a thread in the design of this very moment. What once felt like silence from above was actually preparation. And now, the space around you begins to shift. Doors begin to move, because the time for reward has come. This is not the end of a chapter. It's the beginning of a divine unveiling that reflects everything you've become. It's easy to overlook how much strength was forged in moments that looked like defeat. But even when the road felt like it was closing, there was always a higher hand making a way forward. Each season of testing carried seeds of breakthrough buried beneath it, and now those seeds are beginning to sprout. The weight you carried wasn't wasted. It was shaping the foundation of something eternal. That endurance, that quiet persistence, has created space for something far greater to emerge. Now the veil is lifting. What was forming in the dark is stepping into light. This isn't just about personal blessing. It's about becoming a vessel through which something divine can flow outward. The transformation wasn't just for you. It was preparing you to carry something others will need. And now, heaven rejoices, because what you carried silently, faithfully, is about to manifest publicly, undeniably, and beautifully. Some journeys are walked in quiet resolve, without recognition, without applause, only the deep inner knowing that each step carries purpose. The road behind you wasn't random. It was divinely measured, not to burden, but to prepare. The turns, the pauses, the moments of silence, each was a part of something greater being formed within. And now, the atmosphere around you begins to shift. Possibilities once locked away are being unlocked, not by force, but by timing. The long-hidden alignment has arrived. This isn't just a breakthrough. It's the arrival of a season that has been maturing in the unseen for longer than you realized. Every time you chose hope when doubt called louder, every time you kept walking through uncertainty, you were walking into this moment. What's opening now was never out of reach. It was waiting for the version of you that was forged through fire to finally stand ready. There is a kind of strength that can only be formed through stretching, when comfort was absent and trust had to rise from nothing. You know what it feels like to be broken and still move forward. And now, with every layer that's been stripped away, what remains is clear, resilient, and true. These aren't just blessings ahead. They are reflections of who you've become. The weight you carried didn't crush you, it carved out capacity. What's arriving now carries more than provision. It carries peace, clarity, and a sense of fulfillment deeper than surface winds. This was never just about arriving somewhere. It was about becoming someone. That process wasn't punishment, it was placement. And now, the shift is not only happening around you, it's flowing through you. The release is real, the reward is near, and the transformation is already underway. What's next will not just bless you, it will transform everything you touch. There are moments when everything you've walked through begins to make sense. Not through explanation, but through unfolding. What once looked like silence from above was actually timing at work. The weight you carried, the prayers whispered in exhaustion, the dreams you buried but never let die, all of them were setting the stage for this divine shift. This isn't just a better season. It's a turning point that carries the fingerprints of something higher. What's coming isn't born from chance. It's the natural release of everything that's been building beneath the surface. Doors that once felt sealed shut are responding to alignment. Grace is moving like a current, lifting everything into position. The shift is here, not because you demanded it, but because you were faithful to the process. What unfolds next will carry the kind of beauty that couldn't have been rushed. Don't just watch. Be part of the movement. Hit subscribe and step into your purpose. Your journey starts now. What was once only a whisper in your spirit is now taking form. Not as a distant hope, but as a visible reality. The waiting wasn't a pause in your story. It was the construction of something extraordinary. Every moment you chose surrender instead of resistance, every time you held on when letting go felt easier, added another layer to the foundation beneath you. Now, the structure is complete, and what's being built upon it is abundance, clarity, and peace. This isn't just reward, it's a reflection of divine design moving into full expression. Nothing you've walked through has been wasted. The promises are not just arriving, they're becoming. And you're not just watching them unfold, you're walking in them. There's a quiet kind of honor in staying the course when the end isn't in sight. And that's what was seen all along. Not the outward appearance, but the persistence, the silent choices that no one else applauded. That kind of loyalty leaves a mark. And now, the ripple effect has begun. You were never being tested to prove something to others. You were being positioned to carry something greater. That greater is now near. This next chapter carries a richness that goes beyond possessions. It will carry peace that settles your heart, fulfillment that fills what success never could, and joy that isn't tied to circumstance. You've grown into this season, and now the time has come for it to grow around you. Every moment you wanted to quit but didn't, those were sacred steps forward. You were becoming in the dark what you would later need in the light. That strength you carry didn't appear overnight. It was formed through endurance, through trust, through choosing the unseen over the immediate. And now, there is no more waiting. The release is real. The favor is active. What's pouring into your life isn't simply compensation. It's the result of every seed of belief you planted in hard soil. Now the ground is ripe, and from this ground, something generational is going to rise. This isn't only your harvest, it's a legacy of faith that will overflow into everything and everyone connected to you. Crossing into a new horizon isn't always loud, but it is always sacred. After walking roads few could endure, what now stretches before you is clarity, not confusion, expansion, not exhaustion. This isn't just a moment to celebrate where you've arrived, but to recognize who you've become. The struggles weren't interruptions, they were preparations, and what's beginning now carries the full weight of everything you endured in silence. This isn't about escaping the hard seasons, it's about stepping into the purpose they carved out for you. The shift is here, and it's not timid, it's transformative. You're not only moving forward, you're rising higher into something that was reserved specifically for you. The closed chapters are behind you. What unfolds now is overflow. Sometimes the finish line doesn't look like a celebration, it looks like peace. And that peace is here, because what you've endured in faith is now unfolding in fullness. This isn't a casual ending, it's a sacred completion. Heaven's recognition isn't always thunderous, but it is real. And right now, that divine recognition surrounds you. Every battle didn't just build resilience, it revealed royalty. You're not receiving this moment by coincidence. This is the direct result of spiritual loyalty that held firm when everything said, "Let go." And now, the heavens lean in, not to whisper, but to release. What's being placed in your hands now has weight. It carries responsibility, but also incredible grace. There is joy ahead, real joy, rooted, resting joy, and you're finally ready to walk fully in it. Some seasons arrive slowly, unfolding like a sunrise that no longer waits for darkness to clear. That's the kind of shift now taking shape in your life. Not sudden, but undeniable. What's beginning is the harvest of hidden faithfulness. This new chapter isn't about striving, it's about receiving. Let the old strain fall away. You've already proven your depth, your consistency, your devotion. And now, the overflow has begun. Every layer of your life, emotionally, spiritually, even physically, is being touched by favor. This shift isn't temporary, it's structural. It's changing how things flow for you, how doors respond, how peace takes up residence. You're stepping into this next chapter not as a survivor, but as a carrier of something sacred. Don't just watch, be part of the movement. Hit subscribe and step into your purpose. Your journey starts now. Not every step was steady, but every step was seen. And that persistence, that raw and unfiltered belief, has become a bridge into the season that's now unfolding. There is no more waiting for someday. The moment is here. And it's big, not because it looks loud, but because it carries a depth that reaches beyond what words can hold. This isn't just abundance in material terms, it's deeper. It's healing, stability, alignment, a harmony in your soul that can't be shaken by external noise. That's the kind of blessing arriving now. It's been earned in the spirit and is manifesting in reality. And soon, those around you won't just see change, they'll feel it ripple. Because your life is about to reflect what only heaven could have authored.